You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast, here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Chrissie. How are you today?
I'm all right. I'm got this helmet on that's translating everything, and I really can't tell who's who around me, even though I really should be able to tell who's who, because I'm in these, very physical fights, but, How are you doing?
I'm moving kind of slow. I feel like there seems to be the pull of gravity seems to be higher than normal right now. Like I'm near two black holes or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That'll get you every time.
It could also be because I had to get up early-ish on a Saturday morning. One of the other.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it happens.
Before we jump into the topic for the day and introduce our guest, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make our show possible, particularly our associate producers, Carl Wonders and Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi. Listeners, you can hear your name listed as one of our associate producers for a monthly subscription of just $10 at patreon.com/BQN. And with a monthly Patreon subscription of just $5, you can join our BQN Star Trek script table reads, which are a lot of fun. Watch your Patreon messages for more information and other fun opportunities with your collective. So we have some news that we want to talk about before we get into anything else. The news cycle on whether or not we're getting more movies just continues forever. The latest is interesting. Simon Kinberg is apparently in talks with Paramount to oversee the Star Trek feature film franchise. Simon Kinberg is a producer who has produced quite a lot of movies, a few of them good.
Damned by faint praise, all right.
Well, so TrekMovie.com has a whole article about it, and they refer to him as X-Men producer Simon Kinberg. And honestly, if I had produced two X-Men films, and those two films were X-Men 3: The Last Stand and Dark Phoenix, I would not want to be known as an X-Men producer. Because those are not good entries in the franchise.
I never saw Dark Phoenix, and I don't remember. I know I saw the other one, but I couldn't tell you anything about it, so...
So what's funny about it is, X-Men: The Last Stand wasn't really good. And Dark Phoenix is basically, like they tried to redo it. It's the same, like it's still the Phoenix story.
Okay.
So it's wild that he redid it and it still sucked. It's not as bad as X-Men: The Last Stand. It's forgettable and boring and the X-Men franchise is a mixed bag. And I'm just saying those two not so good, but. He also produced the Deadpool movies and The Martian. And we come back to...
that should have been the headline.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, he's apparently going to be the Alex Kurtzman of Star Trek movies if these talks go through. Which is interesting that it's, that they're keeping them... Now that, you'd think now that we're all one big happy fleet, it's interesting that they're keeping them separate.
Yeah. Well, we may not stay one big happy fleet.
There is that.
Yeah. Interesting to tap somebody involved with Deadpool. I feel like that doesn't necessarily have to make it as sweary as Deadpool.
No, it doesn't.
But an interesting choice nonetheless.
I mean,
So,
a Star Trek an irreverent fourth wall breaking Star Trek comedy movie wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
not in the slightest. Not at all.
It'd be like
Not at
live
all.
action Lower Decks.
Hmm. You know? Yes. Yes, that's what he needs to do. Maybe not live action, because I love a live action, but I'm perfectly fine. That's more expensive. Um,
So,
but yeah.
he they have apparently have a grand plan for all sorts of movies, which I'll believe it when I'm in the theater. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
including a direct sequel to Beyond, which is, but not that's not the next movie. The next movie is still that prequel reboot that they've been talking about for a while. And so by the time they get to that next sequel, direct sequel to Beyond, it will have been like, I don't know, like 15 years. No, since
Yeah.
like 10
Yeah.
years. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I guess they could create a jump from TOS to motion picture Lost Years vibe. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
If there was going to be something with that crew, with that cast, it would have happened already.
Yeah, I
Don't see it
saw a
happening now.
meme a bit ago, because the 15th anniversary of 2009 was
Yep.
last month,
Month. Oh, yeah.
and or I guess it was still this month. It was recent.
Yes.
And someone was saying that we are now farther from the 2009 Star Trek film than Wrath of Khan was from TOS.
Yep. Yep. Which in and of itself,
Yeah,
whatever, this is, we're coming on 60 years here, so that's fine.
sure.
But those actors have only gotten more expensive,
Yes.
and the sets have only gotten to be having taken down many, many years ago, and even fewer pieces of them are going to be available, and I realize they've pulled more new ones, but whatever. No, I can't imagine, with everything going on as it is, that Paramount would greenlight something that they would have to pay for one of the Avengers if they wanted to do that storyline with his dad. And
I don't think it's gonna
yeah,
have his dad. Uh,
well, still, there's still one of the Marvel characters in Zoe Saldana. So
that's true. She's not worth as much as Chris Hemsworth, but yes,
thank you. That's the
she's
name I was
still
trying to think of.
she's
Hmm.
still worth quite a bit. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I mean Chris Pine has been
and
in it a
Pines.
lot since
Yeah,
then. Yeah, Carl Urban can't be cheap. Yeah,
no, and they'd have to work around the boys if that's still going on.
it is. The new season's starting soon, I think.
I gotta catch up on that.
Uh, Interestingly, they talk about the prequel thing, and they were saying that it's going to be about the origins of the birth of Starfleet and humans, and our early contact with aliens, and yeah,
No.
it's gonna be a reboot. It's not. I don't. On Weekly Trek, I was trying to rationalize this because I was just on Weekly Trek with Alex Perry, and I was trying to rationalize this and say that it's going to be set in between First Contact and Enterprise, and they won't necessarily contradict canon, and that's possible. But I think more likely they don't care.
Well, the time stream goes both ways with the goof up, right? Is that what we were told?
Well, and the thought process here, and this is something that Alex had said to me, is that in 2009, the idea of alternate timelines and whatnot was more of a new thing.
That's
now, we have multiverse sort of stuff, look at Marvel. Yeah. Audiences won't be that confused if they say, oh, this is a different telling of this story.
Yeah,
I don't
this
like
is a
it,
Star Trek
but that's
audience,
what they're gonna do.
and they will complain.
Yes.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'm
The
almost
audience
at the
will
point,
complain
yeah.
regardless of what happens.
Well, that's true because it's Star Trek audience. I'm almost at the point of saying we should create the rule that Alex has that we're not going to talk about it until it's actually filming, but um, he can't even keep to that. So much as I'm sure he
Yeah.
wishes he did. So
Yes. But yeah, I don't think there's much more we can say about that at the moment. Just
no.
there continue to be talks about a movie. We'll see if we get a movie.
Let me say this, Paramount. Find someone who cares deeply about Trek, and you don't have to stick to canon, but at least let's say the generalized story and how things happened, whatever universe we're in, and have that person run it. Just an idea.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe give Jonathan Frakes another shot at the Star Trek movie.
Hey, there's an idea.
Worked really well with First Contact and worked really well with the episode we're about to talk about. So
I was going to say, beautiful transition there, except we still got one piece of news to talk about.
We do have one more piece of news, but before that, let's introduce our guest for the week. It is Caleb Dorsch of the Starfleet Academy Awards podcast, back here again to talk about Discovery with us. Caleb, how are you today?
I'm good. I feel like I'm being pulled more in one direction than another, but, I might just have to use the gravity of my neighbors to pull me through, so I'm doing good.
Nice. All right.
You guys went for the gravity, I went for the Breen fight. That's fine.
All right, so we got a casting announcement for Starfleet Academy. Academy Award-winning actor Holly Hunter will be the Chancellor of Starfleet Academy as a Starfleet captain. So that's really cool.
Yeah. It's one of those names that I'm aware of who this person is, but I'm not really aware of who this person is.
If I'm perfectly honest, I know her most from her voice in The Incredibles.
Right.
Oh, well, there you go.
I have seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And
yes,
that's
I have
the
as well.
only thing that I remember her from. But I know that, she won an Oscar for at least one other film. And then I know 13 was another movie that she was in, but I haven't seen 13. I just know that a lot of people have seen that film and loved it. So
she won an Oscar for The Piano, which I know nothing about.
Yeah. I think it was in the 90s.
I remember that being a big deal.
Yeah, 94.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's exciting that we have a cast announcement. It makes the show feel more real and seem it's less likely to disappear into the development netherworld if they actually have cast.
Yeah.
Particularly someone of that caliber, yeah.
Right. I mean, casting announcements, hopefully soon some more directing announcements. I know Frakes did an interview with John Orchiola from Screen Rant and had said that he had been invited to do some direction on Starfleet Academy, but the scheduling block didn't work out for him. So he might get invited back for season 2. But yeah, it feels like they're going to start moving some pieces on the board soon. So
yeah.
And interestingly, it has taken over the Star Trek set where Discovery was, which is called the Star Trek set now. They've in Toronto, they've named the set the Star Trek set
studio.
Which is really cool. And interestingly, it will have the largest single standing set ever used in a Star Trek production.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is because they're gonna have all of the Academy as one set, which is kind of cool. I do hope we get some location shoots in LA at the water treatment plant where we got all those location shots in the 90s Trek. But it's interesting that it's the largest standing set ever in Star Trek because I don't know if you recall this, but when DS9 started, technically when season 2 of DS9 premiered, when they added the second floor to the promenade, that was at the time the largest standing set for a television show ever.
Yeah.
So it's cool that this is now even bigger than DS9.
That's a bit of the scale on that is going to be pretty awesome. I like that. I wonder if Starfleet Academy has a food court and all that stuff, like a
Right.
modern
I
universe.
mean, a normal lecture hall, at least like I'm from the University of Maryland. That's where I graduated from. A normal lecture hall usually spanned almost 2 floors when you have, the big lectures with 300 people in them. So
Yeah.
at minimum, we know it's going to be at least 2 floors and then some additional floors on top of that, So it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do they have classes that are going to be big enough to require those massive lecture halls? I suppose they'd figure on it anyway. Now I'm looking at this from the teaching point of view, so never mind.
Well, I just wondered, like, the amount, like, the effects budget for makeup, like, how many people are going to be, like, legitimate extras with makeup and all of that for different species versus...
If they're doing huge lectures, they'll probably do the standard trick of they have, like, 15 or 20 people that they copy and paste.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even, I mean, they could animate, really.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even need to have that anymore. You could create whatever kind of aliens you want.
And it'll look better than when they did it on Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, that's a given.
All right. So, speaking of things that look visually better than Enterprise, let's talk about Star Trek Discovery, Season 5, Episode 9, Lagrange Point. Caleb, what do you think about this week?
I wasn't expecting the location, I guess. I thought it was a very unique way to start out with a binary black hole system, primordial black hole system. Especially now that we approach the end of the series, completely unintentional, right? But the beginning of the series started at binary stars, and now we're ending at binary black holes. So, I mean, that was really cool.
Oh, I didn't even go there. Love it.
Yeah.
Nice little bookend there, yeah.
Little bookend. Especially after last episodes of books, right?
You could say the show is a Lagrange point between the two sets of binaries.
Indeed.
There you go.
But it was good. It was good. I thought, classic Frakes direction, a lot of action, very spectacle heavy. Like, this would have been a good one to see on screen in like a theater, right? Very cinematic. I liked the heist feel. And so it was good. I mean, there's still set up for obviously the finale. But a lot of good stuff to chew on, and some very big scope kind of moves, especially in the effects realm. So
I had to say, like, watching it, like, because like one of the very first shots is Federation headquarters, where it starts upside down and then rotates, and I'm like, oh man, Jonathan Frakes is here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of those. There were a lot of tracking shots where it like starts somewhere, the camera starts somewhere and then moves somewhere else. The guy knows how to direct Star Trek. That's all I'm gonna say.
He does.
That's true.
He does, no doubt.
Chrissy, what do you think this week?
Oh, I thought it was great. It's it's just making me sad that there's only one more episode, which is I think it's the general consensus there. But I love the idea if we got to go run and grab this thing. I didn't know how I felt about the this important piece of technology being in something that looks like a barrel that fell off a ship. But other than that, I suppose make it look less important than it is, so people leave it alone, right? But yeah, it was good. Good little cliffhanger too.
Oh yes.
Well, they put it there in the 24th century, and they really didn't want Worf to find it, so they made it look like a barrel so that he would stay away.
Beautiful. It just needed to be blue, but yeah, I suppose he probably avoids all barrels. Yes.
All right, so one of the great things about this episode is that after an extended absence, we have Saru back on the show.
Yay!
Indeed. Much needed. I'm still sad about Detmer and Awoshika not being here.
Yes.
And, I have high hopes, but one day we'll learn. Yeah.
Saw someone saying that the actresses were doing an independent film of some kind. I don't know the details on that, though. I just saw it in passing.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I do really enjoy this season a lot, but it is it is disappointing, and it is kind of taken down a peg when you know that it wasn't intended to be the last season. Clearly something was going on with Mary Wiseman in season 4, and that's why they granted her some leave so she could do what she needed to do and came back. So why not do the same for Doug Jones? Why not do the same for Emily Coots and Ryan Aladejo, right? It's just like, it's clear that they're being flexible, with the actors, but it wasn't planned to be the end, and as a result it suffers for it a little bit, and that's, I just hope that we see those characters again in Academy. That's the only thing I think that would soften the blow a little bit, but it's one of those things too that we won't know until we get some Academy. It'd be cool to see Detmer as like a flight instructor, right?
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
I would love that.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I don't know if that's where they're going to go with it, or...
And Owo could have a boxing gym.
Yeah, there you go.
Train martial arts training? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Or Owo could do the history of religion in other cultures.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
That's one of the nice things about the Academy framework, is that if they want to bring in somebody and, let's have an episode about a student who's having, an issue with this, or just bring in an episode where we have a student who happens to be in this class, and that's part of what the story is, Yeah. So you could bring in anybody for a one-off or two-off, so.
Right.
They're adjuncts. We know about this.
And no one's going to stay on Discovery forever,
paid.
right? Like, eventually that ship's going to get decommissioned. And, they kind of hinted at the beginning of the season already that, the Spore Drive is not being continued. So, Stamets is going to be looking for work at some point, So, yeah.
I will say, shout out to MVP Patrick Kwok-Choon for being on the bridge of Discovery from season 1 all the way through season 5.
Yep.
I know. One stability.
Yeah.
So, very exciting.
But yeah, it's great to see Saru. It's good to see Saru and Tarina together. It's good to see President Rillick.
Yeah.
It's good to, because we've commented that sometimes it feels like they, even if it was just to save money, there've been a lot of times where they've mentioned characters rather than showing them, and so it's nice to see them all in this episode.
Right.
Yeah.
And Rillick really hasn't been there since the first episode, I think. Right?
Yeah.
No.
So it was cool to see Rillick. Vance has barely been in it this season. Tarina had the really big episode in Araga, but that, I guess Vance was back for that too, but that was kind of it. Like, they've being on the ship for the majority.
Tarina and Saru had that thing in one of the early episodes with the handsome and erudite Captain Saru.
Yeah.
I love that.
They had their little tiff, and it's so,
I love how she went from fiancé mode to diplomat mode, where she's like, oh, these flowers are lovely. Oh, there's a problem here. Give them to the
Yep.
aide. Take these. Do something with them.
I'd expect nothing less from a Vulcan.
Oh, I wouldn't either. It was played very well. I hope we see her. There really is no reason we can't see all of these people in the Academy show at one point or another.
That's true.
Do we know? Is it going to start up date-wise immediately after? Or
we don't. We just know it's going to be in the 32nd century. Yeah. We don't know for sure exactly.
So, that would be interesting to do a little bit of a time jump. And it's like, that would allow them to bring some of the characters back because, they're, whether their commissions ended or whatnot, or they got promoted, a lot of them got promotions, at the end of season 3 in Discovery. And then, promotions continue over the course of several years. Eventually they would be at a high enough rank to where they could go teach, at an academy.
Imagine a grouchy old Professor Stamets.
I would love that.
I would love that.
So,
as we left off last last week, the Discovery had jumped away and made it look like they were killed, so that the Breen thought that they were victorious, I should say.
Yeah.
But Discovery has jumped to where the barrel is hanging out between two black holes.
I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah,
You keep calling it the progenitor tech, but it's like it's a barrel. It's a box and whatever.
The funky space barrel.
They got close to it. They didn't quite get where they wanted to go because the spore drive got beat up.
Yeah. And then before they can actually get it, the Breen show up and yoink it.
Yep. Although I did really like this scene when they first get stuck in the gravitational well of one of the black holes, and rather than like lean too heavy into the computer figuring out the things for them, like Tilly really dives into it, and like you can tell she's not nervous, but she is very much focused and on solving the problem and doing so quickly. And like just I think it goes back to, it might have been season 3 or season 4, there was a moment where Detmer had done some sort of really quick calculus, in her head, right? And it was like, blah, 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 this is what we got to do. And it was like, wow, these people really are so smart in the 32nd century, with the level of math and physics that they have, and they're able to just do that in their heads, right? And that's what it felt like. It felt kind of like one of those scenes, which I appreciated. So it's like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, that should work. All right, let's do it. So.
Yeah. Always makes me think of the 10-year-old kid in that first season of Next Gen who is complaining about having to do calculus, and I'm just like, what? No.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, I would complain about having to do calculus at this age.
I complained about it. Excuse me. I complained about having to do calculus when I was 17, and then again when I was 18, and then again when I was 20. But I can't imagine trying to tackle it at 10.
Yeah,
but
no.
I guess maybe if it's introduced then, your brain's a little more malleable, so maybe it's better to have it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, for me, there was, like, a big gulf. Like, I immediately grasped and understood most of algebra, but then when I moved on to calculus, it was just like, what?
Yeah.
What is
Once
this?
you get past,
I don't...
Yeah, the basic differential equation, and then you're like, okay, no, after this, I don't know.
Yeah, derivatives and integrals were fine for me. It was when I got to infinite series and then all of the multivariable stuff. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made my mother sad because she's a math junkie. She does calculus for fun.
Yeah. My father was an accountant for GM for 42 years, and he can do like serious math in his head, and I'm like, I'm gonna pull up my calculator to make sure that I'm, subtracting this correctly.
Right.
Because we weren't gonna have calculators in our pockets, You're not gonna have a calculator with you everywhere you go. You have to be able to do math in your head.
I know.
Anyway.
I know last week you guys were talking about the catalog cards being like the old technology, and then it's like the slide rules, and now like the actual calculators.
Yeah. All right, Caleb, you're a little younger. Did you learn how to use a card catalog?
I think I remember in elementary school having to, but it was at the point where they were starting to transition.
Okay, so it's like me then, yeah.
Yeah. Point is, you recognized it for what it was, so there's that.
Right.
And I do get really annoyed because we talked about that, and then literally just the other day I saw someone sharing a meme on Facebook showing someone using a card catalog, and it said, "Millennials, this was Wikipedia." And it's like, one, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Two,
no, not even close.
You mean Gen Z.
Right. People just use millennials as a Band-Aid term now for anyone younger than them, and I'm like, no, millennials are all adults now. Like,
yeah, like
most of us are already
I'm
in our
almost
30s.
40.
Right.
Remember, millennials start in 1980.
Yeah.
Which for we millennials feels like it was only 20 years ago, but it was not.
Right.
Elder millennials have adult children. I know some elder millennials who are grandparents, so there you go.
Yeah. I mean, things that
Admittedly,
happened 20 years ago, like Fall Out Boy put out their best album 20 years ago, right? Wedding Crashers was a movie that came out 20 years ago. Like, that just puts into perspective some of the things that happened 20 years ago.
Star Trek Enterprise had just wrapped up the Xindi arc 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yep. Green Day's American Idiot was 20 years ago.
Yep, it was. Yep.
And it hasn't lost any of its relevance.
No,
anyway,
still the same.
George W. Bush lost an election and still became president 20 years ago.
Wow, 23 years ago. 24 years ago.
Oh, yeah. 20 years ago he won that one. Never mind.
Yeah. 21.
George W. Bush was re-elected 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was the 2000 election.
George W. Bush was actually elected for the first time 20 years ago.
Yes, was elected to the office of president for the first time 20 years ago. Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
George W. Bush became the only Republican so far to win a presidential election in the 21st century 20 years ago.
The popular vote. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Anyway.
Back to some Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know, I had an issue. I was talking with Thad about this at one point about last week's episode where they decided to off Rune so quickly after building him up. But after seeing this episode, like, I get why. I'm kind of more okay with it. Like, I think Maul really taking the charge, especially just like the cause of, you know, Locke was, you know, the official line, right? Like, I guess there's more of a backing there. So the fact that they were married, like, I guess there's some sort of honor in that commitment, I guess, that the Breen view, even though they're very hierarchical. So, like, seeing her really take the charge this time and see that the Breen that were Rune's men, you know, or I shouldn't say men, Rune's people. I don't actually know. They're all gelatinous blobs. You know, so I thought that was kind of cool. And I get it now. You know, I get why they made that choice. Especially with Tahal on knocking on the doorstep, right? Like, it was... The only thing I wish in this episode we, you know, and maybe there'll be some in the next one, but, like, Tahal is very obviously brought up because Rayner had a history with it, and I wonder if they're going to do anything more with that. But I don't know, you know.
Yeah. I find it interesting. Like, I guess it makes sense because we, as the audience, can't visually tell the difference between them anyway, but I find it interesting that none of the Breen get names.
Yes.
Like there's that one Breen, I assume it's the same Breen throughout the episode, that Maul is talking with and conferring with. Again, I assume it's the same Breen throughout the episode.
Right. Well,
but we don't know who it is.
Probably.
And I think that was a really good thing that they did, at least for our disco crew who were on the away team, being able to do, like, the heads-up display, helmet cam, you know. I think that is really the only route you could have gone to avoid that level of confusion, but you don't get that same regard for the other side, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's how many Breen can we suck into the barrel? Right?
Yeah, like, Book doesn't even know the name of the Breen he's going to get an oil bath with.
Right.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Hurry up, Michael, it's getting weird.
It's getting weird. Well, and, like, part of the thing too, I mean, going back to, like, the David Mack book, Zero Sum Game, like, the Breen were in that book a variety of species that all wore the masks in order to eliminate any biases that would have occurred naturally between the species if they were unhelmeted, right? And it kind of translates here in that way too. It's like, you don't know the gender of the Breen that, you know, you're talking to in most cases, right? And so it's like one of those things that's like, who is Book flirting with? This is like very potentially pan territory, it's like, all right.
Well, do goo people have disparate sexes?
That's it. I mean,
how does breed reproduction work?
They use male and female pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
That could
that
could be gender construct and not recognition of sexual dimorphism, but
true.
Yeah. You're right.
Really beyond where we're the information we have. Maybe we'll have a Breen student on Academy.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. I mean, it's not impossible, just because even if the Federation doesn't have good diplomatic relations with the Breen, there could still be a Breen that decides to join Starfleet.
Like Nog?
Yeah, like Nog.
Yeah.
Or Worf.
Like Worf, yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. I keep going back to what you said, Thad, about how the Breen are a species so racist they have to completely conceal themselves.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the point
I never thought
in
of it
David
that
Mack's
way.
novel, is like,
Yeah.
they wear the helmets because they're so racist that they can't not be racist without the helmets.
Yeah.
Right, and I had not thought of it that way. I was thinking of it as, this is a leveler.
Although I do wonder, I mean, how would our society be if we all had to wear those helmets? We might be a better society. I don't know.
Probably would be. Probably would be. But given how our society functions, you'd still be able to tell who had more money or not because they'd have a nicer helmet.
True. Yes.
You trade one thing for another. And obviously the Breen are still very hierarchical. We see that.
Extremely, yes.
So they might not be racist, but they still have the capacity to discriminate for other reasons.
Hierarchical command structure.
Yes. Interrogative.
I did get very nervous at many different points during the actual heist because of like the shoddy translation units in the helmets. I was curious about that because I felt like they translated fairly easily in the other scenes we had seen prior to this episode, and it's like, okay, well, now that they're wearing these helmets that have been replicated, are they actually translating effectively? And it's like, Michael, what do I do? Like, I don't understand what he's saying. And then xenoanthropologist comes out and, and she reasons her way through the conversation and basically just like craps on this guy for being dumb. Like,
yeah. And yes, the Breen natural hierarchy works in that case.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things, I say, if you act like you belong somewhere, people don't question it.
Right.
If you walk into a space and you appear to be somebody who's supposed to be there and you act like you know what you're doing, nobody's going to make a second thought. You can get in anywhere with a toolbox and a vest.
Indeed. We've all seen Mission Impossible before. How many times did Simon Pegg just,
Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely. I thought actually it was a good source of humor in this episode, too. A lot of those interactions were... They were tense at first, but then they were all transformed into moments of levity,
Yeah.
Especially
the book one.
Yeah, especially the book one.
I mean...
are you going to the barbecue later? Like,
kudos to that Breen for just being immediately down when this Breen that they had never met before was like, hey.
Star Trek has always been horny. Come on, y'all.
It's true.
It has.
And it's book. Like, very attractive helmet. Come on.
Okay, that could be read in a very different way, but yes.
Oh my god.
Spaceballs.
Look at the size of his helmet.
Exactly.
My Schwartz is longer than yours.
And the nurse, I bet she gives great helmets.
Gone from suck to blow.
Oh god.
Yep.
Okay.
We should do a Spaceballs commentary in between seasons at some point. Just
Yeah, that'd be good. We can pit Spaceballs and Galaxy Quest against each other.
Ooh,
That'd
that's
be a
an
good
interesting discussion.
Yeah.
We should suggest that to Batleth Battles.
Oh, that'd be good.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yes. All right. Make a note of that.
So yeah, they sneak onto the Breen ship as it wearing the refrigerated suits, which makes sense, and things are not going super well.
I did like, actually, that the away team was composed of Adira and Jen Reese and Book and Burnham. Like, I thought,
Yes.
Book and Burnham makes sense, right? Like, that was always kind of going to be a thing that they were setting up. I mean, the whole thing with this season is working towards their reconciliation, right? Like, it's kind of the writing's on the wall. They even built in the scene in this episode, right? You know, where they got to chat about it a little bit while they're in the middle of the mission. But one of my biggest complaints, in addition to, you know, the people who are obviously missing this season, is that the people who are there, like Stamets and Adira specifically, really aren't getting a lot to work with. Like, they're there, they're doing things, you know, but they're not really... There's not a lot of development for them, you know? And so, you know, Adira's thing was that they're just anxious and uncertain, you know, most of this season. And it's like, okay, like, yes, they're still an ensign. But, like, what are we going to do with that? And I'm like, okay, finally, episode 9. I was like, when are we going to address this? And it's like, all right, they get to go on the away mission, you know, they get to use their skills, and this is great. So I was very happy to see Adira on the team and see Reese on the team. Like, Reese really has done a bunch this season, in light of the others being absent. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think perhaps another sacrifice of it being the unplanned final season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that Adira and Reese are the competent ones on this mission. They're just doing their job the whole time. They never get caught. They just do what they need to do.
And Reese very much acts as confident big brother in the situation. Like, you know, Adira is still very nervous, but Adira knows they can do it, and that's why they advocated for themselves to say, I can do this. And you know, they were uncertain at the beginning whether or not to send them on the away mission, but then Tilly was like, yeah, they can do it. Like, why have someone who's less confident in the math and the ability to hack the system to do it? You know, just send them. Why are we protecting an ensign who doesn't need protection? Like, remember, Adira survived the whole not UFP. What was it? The United Earth Force or whatever.
Yeah.
I forget what the force.
Yeah.
They were doing that for at least a couple of years before that, and there were very clearly some contentious moments there, you know, between the people on Titan, right? So it's, you know, I think that's where they're at. They're on Titan and people of Earth. Yeah.
The other group. Well, and you know, they also carry all of the knowledge of the symbiont.
Yeah.
We kind of have forgotten about that, you know, and so there's a lot of background there that can be pulled on when needed.
Right.
Yeah.
That shuttle ride was a little too close for comfort. It definitely felt more like a half-baked plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they beam out like a few seconds before they would get roasted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
was,
you gotta have a little bit of tense.
It was like solution now, explain later, right?
I did like that though, because there are those moments, particularly if you're into this, you get caught up in things and you neglect what's right in front of you in order to, like, you know, dig into the thing that you find interesting.
But the technobabble.
Yeah, the technobabble.
I mean, the main concern at quieter moments.
Yes. I mean, the main concern was that they were trying to beam into a spot where they were Breen currently occupying. And it's like, well, why would Breen be transporting to that random spot, right? And I thought, you know...
And that was because it was the only part of the ship that was in range for them, For
them, right. And so I actually thought the way Burnham handled that was really good. It's like, God, you idiot, you set the transporter coordinates wrong. Like, why would you do that?
Notes
So.
from Linus having transported himself into the replicator,
Right.
or whatever he did.
Yeah. Well, we know got stuck in a replicator, and I posit it was because of the transporter. Yeah.
That's right.
This
Okay.
isn't the mess hall.
There we go. Don't even have to involve the replicator.
Yeah, the whole heist part of it, though, it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. We get, oh no, here, the thing we're gonna do doesn't work. We have to do something else, which puts us in more danger. Of course, that's just how this works.
Not having the right clearance codes and then having to kick some butt in order to get through the door,
I appreciate that they show them hiding the bodies.
Right.
I like that, and because obviously you'd need to.
Right. And just the idea of a transpo lock. I actually didn't understand what they were saying at first when they introduced that idea, and then I was watching it with the subtitles. I was like, oh, a transpo lock. That's a combo word of some new technology that is very much a 32nd century thing. Which is cool,
It's what with the transport enhancer thingies that they used to set up.
Yeah, it's just it's like that, except they don't need the giant pylons anymore.
Yeah,
right.
Or actually, it probably is not even all that new tech if we think about Insurrection with the little transpo darks that the Sona
that's
used to get the Baku off the planet. I mean, it's pretty similar.
Definitely feeling aggressive tendencies, sir. I should rewatch Insurrection.
That is a constant mood. Let me just rewatch Insurrection because it's so good.
Yeah,
it's a comfort film. It really is.
Yeah. I am a all on board Insurrection apologist. I think it is a fantastically fun movie to watch.
Let's rephrase that with the full title. I am a full on board Star Trek Insurrection apologist.
Oh, yes. Let's be clear. I don't need that clip going around.
No.
I do not support
movie.
Yes.
My how
I'd like
things have
to
changed.
just to be clear, I was at home watching the news appalled on January 6th.
I was watching
not...
C-SPAN as it happened.
Yes. Even though my congressman helped organize it and ran buses, I was not part of that.
Oh gosh.
I'm sure you didn't vote for him, so that's
Never have I ever.
Oh Lord.
Good catch.
Yeah. I mean, back to this episode. Like, I feel like everything was paced really well. The only thing in this heist where I felt like, I don't know if there was like a scene missing or if it just happened very quickly, but one moment, like Maul and her group are focused on the fact, I think it was when Discovery unveiled itself with the cloak, right? And then the next second, they caught Book and Burnham to place in the transpo lock. And I just felt like that happened really quickly. And I was like, weren't they like in a different part of the ship? How did they get there so fast? It was like snap, and then they were, they were there.
She
Well,
was
I
on
mean,
the
they
bridge.
probably have the site-to-site transporters too.
Also, yeah. I guess.
And
yeah, because I guess
she
Raynor
went down
tried to
there.
bluff, right? Like Raynor bluffed and said,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, she's dead," Burnham's dead, and then it's like, "Oh, look who's alive," and it was like it just happened,
I think once Maul saw that Discovery was still functioning, she knew why they were there.
Yeah,
And
that's fair. Maul's not new at the game.
Yeah. So obviously, the Breen are aware of what's going on, and Maul is just gonna go into the barrel. We should say there were a couple Breen that got sucked into the barrel earlier in the episode.
That's true. I like the one that had the tether that clearly did nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not even
was
like
bolted
the tether.
to the deck.
I was expecting the tether to get like cut and then they fly in. The tether didn't get cut. It just straight yanked out of the floor.
Yes.
I was like, that was a crappy tether. Why would you do that?
Or how powerful is that vortex?
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that it was powerful for everyone except Burnham, who stood in front of it and actively chose to go in. You know? Like...
Well, all of the people actively chose to go in.
Well, yes, but they also got sucked in to a degree. Well, the Breen got sucked in. Maul chose to go in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, the other two were ordered to go in, so I guess they chose, but it wasn't exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michael goes in after, and of course, from the beginning, when we first saw the first Breen get sucked in, I knew that Michael was going to go in that thing.
At some point,
100%.
Yeah. Had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That moment where they see Maul go in, well, actually, even before that, right? They had just gotten captured, and I love that Michael is able to speak in code to Raynor. There's some of those things that were happening earlier in the season where they like, over the course of like 2 episodes, it was like Kelleran, backstory, like all this stuff, like really quickly, and you're like, why am I drinking from a fire hose here with all this? And then now it's like, okay, here's the payoff. Okay, I really liked that, that aspect. Like, oh, Asukat, got it. We're talking Kelleran code over here, and that's why, she's able to deliver the message. But, the whole reason Maul decides to go in is because she knows that everything's about to get blown out of the shuttle bay, which is just an awesome way to kind of like, yeah, let's do some math. Let's penetrate their shields in for their hangar bay, and let's jettison everything into space. Very
math
bold.
Doesn't lie.
A lot of bold moves in this episode. Things that
something that only works because the Breen ship is enormous.
Yes.
So Discovery fits in the shuttle
inside. Right. Well, actually, I don't know if you noticed. I didn't notice this until someone had posted screenshots of it. The nacelles actually pivoted and were above the ship when it went in.
Oh, nice.
And I did
I didn't
reduce
notice
its
that either.
surface
That's
area.
awesome.
I didn't notice it either. I watched it twice and I was like, when someone pointed it out on Twitter, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, that's the advantage of 32nd century detached nacelles, right? Like, I mean, Voyager would have done the same with its little flipper nacelles, but pivot up. Have you seen that animated Voyager
I was
thing
immediately thinking of the Flappy Voyager animation, yes.
That's what I was referencing.
Yep.
And then there's the Klingon bird of prey in the same...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Starfleet ships always seem small compared to baddies. The big baddies, the Romulans and the Borg and the Breen, and it's like...
and Discovery is not a small
and yet they're
ship.
so
it's
massive.
a really long ship. Yeah.
Did you just say that they seem small compared to the big ships?
No, the baddies.
Like,
Said the baddies.
But yes, but then you also said big baddies. So I'm like, well, yes, they look small compared to the big ones.
I meant the big, metaphorically important.
I know what you mean.
Yes, I know. But yes, that was a... No, don't be sorry. That was a good catch. I was not... I need more
even
coffee.
If we go to Voyager, there was that giant Kazon ship in the first episode.
Yeah.
What I always think about... You think about what the size of the Enterprise D, right? And then we run into a Romulan bird of prey, and the Enterprise D could literally
Warbird.
fly...
Warbird.
Yes,
Not
excuse
bird
me.
of prey.
Warbird. Yeah. All right, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean,
A Romulan bird of prey would have been smaller than the Enterprise.
Yes, it would have
a
been.
Borg
It's the little
cube,
one
like
from-
watching First Contact, the Enterprise E is not a small ship, but it looks so tiny compared to the Borg cube, and so this Breen ship feels pretty massive in comparison. Definitely not Borg cube large, but definitely large enough. Like, yeah, you could fit a couple other ships in here.
Yeah, and I mean, in season 3, we had the big ship that the Emerald Chain was using.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And Discovery fit inside that. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there was, and even if we go all the way back to season 1, the Klingons had the Cleave ship.
Oh, God, the Cleave ship. That thing was massive. Yeah. I mean, that is one thing I will commend Disco on, especially in this episode, is just trying very different things that we haven't seen ships do before. Like, I thought we've done some really cool things with the ships this season that we hadn't seen prior. So that's been cool.
Sorry, this is an aside now, but physics-wise, how does the cleave ship even work? Because in space, there's no drag. So why would it cleave the ship and not just push the ship back?
That's a good question. Unless it's
question.
Unless it's going faster than the other ship, and it's like
even if it is, it should just push it back because there's no drag for them to, like, if you ram a ship in the water in the Navy, the actual water is what is keeping that. Yeah.
I mean, we see the same thing in that very terrible Star Trek movie that no one likes to talk about, Nemesis, where the scimitar, rams the E. So I don't know. That's a good question. I never thought about that before. Unless they are intentionally accelerating in opposite directions, that would be the only.
Yeah.
Right, because like if they are,
so they're both accelerating, then yes, it would.
Yeah. And I don't know, the cleave ship, I always felt like they had a little bit of a, I don't know, because it happens as they decloak, right?
Right. And so maybe the Europa was accelerating and we just didn't see it because we were focused on Admiral Anderson on the bridge. That was his name,
That's
right?
possible.
Yeah, Admiral Anderson.
Yes.
Or maybe it was maybe they had a little bit of Phoenix style technology where they were able to maybe push in and break a little bit. Although that's completely supposition. That was the Phoenix, right? It's Riker's former captain.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it ended up half inside the asteroid because they were. It wasn't.
Oh no!
No, Pegasus.
That was Pegasus.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Pegasus.
Yeah.
It started with a P. It was close.
There you go. You got it. Yeah. I did like the last look that Burnham gave to Book before she went in. I felt like the journey these two have been on, like, it speaks to the level of trust that they still have between each other, even though trust in other areas was broken. Yeah. Sonequa was just so good in this season.
Yeah.
I mean, you can remove the in this season part.
That's true.
Honestly.
That's true. It really,
too.
Sonequa Martin Greet's just so good. Like, her expressions, her face acting, just so, like, you feel everything, I think we're now close to the final couple of scenes, right, in the episode.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff going on with Rayner. I did really like this scene with Tilly and Rayner. I was talking with Thad and Carl about this the other day. I just love how confident Tilly is in this season.
Yes.
Especially given her uncertainty, first just jumping to the future, and then also, having to take command at the end of season 3, not doing well in that position, and then really feeling like this isn't for me, like it felt very much like, okay, this is Tilly the coach, the teacher, the coach, the mentor. Not that Rayner needs mentoring, he was a captain, but he does need guidance on how to manage this particular crew who is just so different from him and his expectations,
Yeah.
And so I think that relationship between Tilly and Rayner has been a really good breath of fresh air this season. And it makes me really proud of Tilly, and seeing where Tilly started as a cadet, and then knowing that this is where Tilly's story is, coming to an end, and hopefully continuing in Academy. We'll see. But, like,
yeah, I certainly hope so.
Yeah. I thought it was really good.
That has not been confirmed?
It has not been officially confirmed, no.
Oh, okay.
The most we know is that she can't talk about it, which
means at the very least she's going to appear.
Yeah.
I can't talk about it because I'm not on it.
Or at least she'll be in the pilot episode, to pass the torch like Quark and McCoy and everyone else who's been in the first episodes of Burn Trek.
I hope it's more than that. I don't think she'd be saying I can't talk about it if it was just that, other than,
Right.
Because she could say I'm not in much of it or something like that, or maybe not.
It's interesting because Academy will be the first show that continues in the same timeline to where they can have a character appear from the previous show in the pilot. Whereas like everything in 90s Trek was very linear up until Enterprise, but
yeah. Well, I mean, technically, Strange New Worlds already did that by having several characters that first appeared in Discovery.
That's fair, but that's a different time period.
Speaking of Tilly in this episode, I do want to call out friend of the show Abby Summer for pointing out at one point Tilly says "Holy schnoodle."
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even catch it at first. It was when I saw the subtitles. I was like, that is funny, especially because, and you can bleep me later, but when Tilly earlier
we'll
in
just
the
put
show,
an explicit tag.
Right, was like, this is so fucking cool. Like, you're right, Kat, it is fucking cool. Like, and now she's like, I'm a teacher. Holy schnoodle. Like,
yeah, and that's what Abby said. She said she has learned the teacher way to swear at work.
Yes.
Which is kind of ridiculous because she teaches adults, but okay.
Yeah. You don't go around saying frack all the time?
If I do, it's because I'm feeling in a sci-fi mood, not because.
Yeah.
So you just straight up drop the F-bombs in your lectures, Chrissy?
Actually, there's one where I particularly do so. To catch people's attention, and it is why did the French help the Americans in the Revolution? Fuck the British. And they remember that. They always remember it. But other than that, no,
and it is very accurate.
Yeah.
Yes. And but I do not censor shit.
The absolute monarchy in France obviously did not support a Republican revolution on the sake of ideals.
No. But no, I don't go around dropping F-bombs in class, but I don't censor shit because come on.
Yeah.
No. It's 2024.
Yeah. Caleb, you're probably not allowed to drop. Yeah.
Well, yes, it's different
from my
when
students in class every single day.
Oh, absolutely.
So, right, but you're not allowed to say them.
It's high school. It's a little more casual now. I teach in a
context,
majority minority school. It's it's a little different. It's not
okay. Well,
adherence to rules is not as rigid as some other types of schools that we grew up.
Well, 20 years ago when I was in high school. In suburban Pennsylvania, it definitely you would never hear a teacher swear.
No.
I mean,
aside,
we still try not to when we teach, but
Well, yeah, but I feel like damn and hell aren't even swearing anymore.
That's true.
No.
And shit is very close to that.
You can say damn and hell and shit on primetime TV, so they don't really count.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Did you ever watch the Boondocks?
No.
Yes.
I have to send you a clip from the Boondocks about a teacher who has issues with saying inappropriate words and how it's so ridiculous because the student said, "Can an N-word borrow a fry?" And he was like, "Borrow a fry? How do you borrow a fry?" And he didn't even pick up on the other, and it's very funny.
That's
nice.
Funny.
In the context.
That's a very good question, though. How do you borrow a fry?
Yeah. Anyway.
I had a teacher that would always, if someone said, "Can I borrow a tissue?" would always say, "No, I don't want it back."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's along the lines of, "Can I use the bathroom?" It's like, I don't know, can you?
Can you?
Yes.
The vampire that asks, "Can I come in?" I don't know, can you? So I love how Tilly comes at Rayner with her type of encouragement, and he's like, No. I wanted you here because you'd tell me off. You'd tell me things. If she had walked up to him and said, "Sit in the damn chair," he probably would have.
Yeah. Well, so what's funny, actually, that interview from Frakes I was referring to earlier, apparently the line was, I don't need any more of your warm and fuzzy bullshit. And they went with, like, Raynor or Callum decided to go with encouragement instead of bullshit. So speaking of swearing, like...
I think it works better as encouragement.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it does, but the other feels more like that character.
Raynor feels more like a say bullshit kind of character, but I feel like it's more pointed when you say that rather than more of, I hear you, but don't ever say that again.
Also, I feel like it helps establish Raynor as someone whom Discovery has changed a little bit.
Yes.
When he first came on, he would have said bullshit.
When he first came on, he would have been like, leave me alone.
And there's a level of respect between him and Tilly now that I think has fostered well over the course of, the 10 episodes we've seen. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, 9 episodes. I misspoke. Over the course of 9 episodes we've seen.
You're rounding up. It's fine.
I know. Rounding up. The season's almost done.
Well, I mean, it's really only 8 episodes because he and Tilly didn't have any interaction in the first episode.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. And it really wasn't. It wasn't really until episode.
It's really only
3.
7 episodes.
Yeah, it was episode 3 when in Janal when they did their "Let's meet the crew" kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I had a heart attack at the very end of this episode when the barrel exploded. Did anyone else lose their mind? I'm like, whoa! Did we just kill Michael Burnham?
No, I actually
yes,
didn't think that at any point.
No,
but
at first it was like, whoa.
I'm like, yeah, that was cool. I'm like, oh, it must be doing something fancy. But yeah.
I did think it was going to go like explode and whoop, and disappear, and they would have to go find it.
It reminded me of if anyone's ever seen the German show Dark on Netflix. There's a very similar thing.
It's on my list.
There's like a portal thing that opens up and is all kind of frilly on the edges because gravitational wonkiness and whatnot. Yeah, but no, it was cool. I like the special effects in this episode are so good.
Yeah,
and I continue to love the use of the AR wall on the Breen ship to show its depth. Like, I thought that's been really, really cool. And, thinking about how many scenes are set on the Breen ship in those last couple of episodes, like, I wonder, like, in terms of the episode blocking, like, when they were shooting, if they shot a lot of the Breen, scenes concurrently, even though they were in different episodes, because of how much time it takes to set up each scene with the AR wall,
That would make sense.
That would make sense, yeah.
But I guess they really didn't have to change up the AR wall at all the last couple of episodes, right? I think they did a little bit with... I think they used it in Whistle Speak. And then...
Yeah.
I don't think they changed anything up really in Aragot other than to show some stuff on... It was the Breen ship we first saw really in Labyrinth. We saw the inside of.
Except for that one space, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one floor or whatever. We jumped over Saru and Tarina having a moment of, hey, we're both professionals and we're not going to argue about this.
Oh, that's right.
Which I appreciated.
Yes.
And well, but the reason why is because Saru said, like, he volunteered, I'm going to go talk to Tahal because they had several attempts of trying to get in contact with Tahal that didn't work. And, it is cool to see Saru the diplomat, but this is dangerous. This is bold. Their solution of, I'm gonna take the shuttle and we're retrofitted with the pathway drive, which is convenient, so we can get there. But I'm not gonna take any torpedoes with me. Just like,
well, from where he's coming from, he's right, because if they're there, yeah. But I do love the whole, Vulcans are not the only species who are capable of using logic.
It's one of those things, though, like, the minute he said it, I'm like, I really hope we don't have the death of Saru in this finale. Like, like, to be so close to Saru being happy, to having a wedding, and then to just pull the rug, especially because he's been gone all season. I don't know. That's my fear. I've had that fear kind of like
a couple times now.
So
I think this is another place where we can say this was not intended to be the final season.
I know, yeah.
And if they had known it was going to be the final season, they might have done that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they, when you're figuring on having next season, then there's no reason to create finality.
Right. And
I had that total brain fart like 6 episodes ago where I was like, they're going to kill Michael Burnham at the end. And I was like, oh, wait, Thad reminded me that this was not supposed to be the final season.
Right.
Yes.
I very much have missed Saru the last several episodes. It is good to have him back, but on the other side of the coin, it has been great to have Rayner in his place. I just wish that the other 2 bridge crew members we've been missing have had some sort of balance as well, like new characters to balance them. Like, yes, there's Asha and Jemison and Gallo, and yes, there's some cool nods with the names, and Asha's Bajoran, that's cool, but they really haven't done anything other than have them say a few lines here and there or do a few things. I don't know these characters, and that was the thing that people had complained about for 2.5 seasons. We really didn't get to know the bridge crew at all, and then we finally had a couple of really great stories with Detmer and Owoshikan, and they just been gone, and so anyway, I mean, I know we hit on the point earlier, but it's
yeah.
So.
Well, I'm sure we know that they filmed special stuff for the end of the show, so hopefully they'll be back for something exciting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. This really does show that it's the Michael Burnham show, though.
Yeah.
And people do forget that because we're so used to Trek being ensemble. And even though Trek is ensemble, okay, yes, but we usually do end up focused on a few characters. Like we were talking about the Next Gen movies earlier, and Next Gen becomes the Data and Picard show. And then that moves into Picard as well. But I think because this one started that way, it's kind of been a bit confusing.
And it's definitely a result of COVID making them shoot in pockets where certain groups of people are together because they have to be because of, protocols and whatnot. And, it's still a little bit evident in this season. People are like, well, how would COVID affect this show? It's like, well, they filmed this almost 2 years ago. It was still only the first or second round of boosters then when they were filming. It's still it was more of a big deal 2 years ago than it was, this past year,
Yeah.
And anyway,
that's a point, because maybe without COVID, it would have become more ensemble.
Yeah.
Over the course of season 3 and 4, but who knows?
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. But I think we definitely wouldn't have had half a season without Saru if they had known it was the end.
True.
Oh, definitely. And
honestly, Detmer and Oo also. If they...
Yeah.
I think we would have also not had a 10-episode season 2 if they had known it was going to be the last one. I think it would have been a 13 or 15
I don't know
like the
about
others.
that. They seem to have sort of solidified on 10-episode seasons.
Yeah. I think budgetary-wise, that's where they were moving.
My understanding, and again, this is just based on rumor and hearsay, speculation, etc. But my understanding is that the reason they had longer than 10-episode seasons at the beginning was how Netflix did it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Netflix did the 13
now
to
you're
15
saying
episodes.
That.
Yeah.
I remember. I remember that being a point.
So, yeah. I think they've... No, I mean, they did end up doing Picard season 1 in 11, I think, because they realized...
It was still 10.
Was it 10?
It was still 10. What had happened was that they wrote, I think, 11 episodes worth of things, and they had to shuffle around and cut some stuff to add in. Because I think what they were going to do is try to have some of the Romulan relocation backstory earlier, and they had to kind of splice it and drop it in at random points. And so that's why at an Arcadia Ego 1 and 2, that was, I think, supposed to be shorter, and then they had to make it longer because they moved some things around, and that's why the episode 9 is very light. There's not a lot that happens in that first part of that episode,
right?
It makes sense.
Yeah. But I do remember there being some interesting things with the shooting blocks for, and what it was too is it was actually the first 3 episodes. That's what I'm thinking of. The first 3 episodes were supposed to be 2 episodes, and then they made it 3 episodes.
Okay.
So that compressed everything else in the back half, and that's why some things kind of felt rushed at certain points.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We finally get to the end of this episode. Raynor sits in the chair. And
he's got the lean.
He's got the lean.
He looks good.
And he says, "Let's do this." And
that failure is not an option.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Failure is not an option. Let's do this. Smash cut. Boom. Cliffhanger. I was not expecting the episode to end on a cliffhanger, but I'm kind of glad it did. It's a good...
I mean, the penultimate episode is not that surprising.
Yeah.
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 All right. So it is the penultimate episode, but and come back to and listen to us next week when we talk about the next episode and the end of the series, sadly.
Sad.
Yeah. In the meantime, Caleb, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can listeners find you online? Do you have any work you want to mention?
Nothing really that I've been working on lately, but you can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Mastodon at Rogue Mogue. That's ROGUEMOGH. I haven't been as active on Mastodon, but I do try to cross-post everything I post on Twitter about Star Trek there and on Blue Sky. But mainly Twitter is still the place to find me. I refuse to call it by its other name. So
no one calls it X.
You can follow me there.
It is okay to dead name corporations.
Yes.
Chrissy, where can people find you when you're not inviting other people to join your oil bath?
That takes me back to Spaceballs because there's, Dot Matrix needed an oil bath. As did C-3PO. So, when my consciousness has been uploaded into a robot, right. In addition to here on Infinite Diversity, you can find me on History with the Szilagys here on the BQN. And that is that twice weekly short history podcast I do with my fellow historian partner, Jason. I am also happy to chat about our shows on the BQN Collective on Facebook and in the Discord. And I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky and various other socials at The Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet, where you can see my opinions about Star Trek history and leftist politics. Thad, where can people find you when you're not trying to figure out the best way to attach a tether before you step into a portal to the unknown?
Best place to find me is also on Twitter. I am at Tyrannicus. That's TYRANICUS. You can also hear me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl called License to Spiel, where we started out talking about James Bond and now talk about other movies and TV shows. On an upcoming episode, Chrissy will actually be joining us as a guest.
Yes, you can hear me rant about Dan Brown. But in the meantime, I'll transition here. Don't forget all of our other great shows here on the BQN. Here's Amy Nelson to tell you all about them.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Mark, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristen. Whether you've got Xbox or Nintendo, check out Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey, a self-proclaimed gamer who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. 2 episodes enter the arena, 1 comes out victorious. Join hosts Joe and Kevin, and a guest, as they debate which should win the Batleth battle. Grab your popcorn as you listen to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed, but should definitely check out. Hosted by Mark and Matt. Don your apron for The Food Replicator, where Matthew eats and drinks his way through the Star Trek cocktail and 3 cookbooks. Beam Aboard Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Steven. In order to not repeat it, listen to History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissie and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissie and Thad. Curl up with a good book and delve into Beta Canon with Peter, host of the online Trek Book Club on Twitter, and his new companion, Trek Book Club podcast. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey. Whether you're a member of Starfleet Federation or Planetary Union, go check out Union Federation, covering current Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Head over to YouTube and watch The View Screen live on Sundays, your Trek-inspired talk show hosted by Kelvin and Amy, with Season 2 starting in September for a 10-week run. Spill the tea with Christos while he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with a LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the Tea Bab. And for our Patreon members, we have the Hive Mind with monthly script readings, Let's Fly, a Discovery reaction show, It's Green, a cornucopia of topics, Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Mark White for the awesome show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
And if you'd like to reach out, you can find our network on the various socials at BQN Podcasts, and our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. You can also talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, and on our Discord. When you next hear from us, we will be talking about the final episode of Star Trek Discovery, Life Itself. Until then, we bid you peace and long life.
Oh gosh, are you doing the Robert Langdon ones?
We are doing all of the Robert Langdon ones, and Chrissy will be joining us for all of them.
I only watched The Da Vinci Code. Actually, maybe I watched Angels and Demons, but...
I had only ever seen... Well, I read the Da Vinci Code. I couldn't remember if I actually had seen the movie all the way through. I'd seen bits and pieces, you know.
I read Da Vinci Code. I've actually read most of the Langdon books. I only liked Angels and Demons and Da Vinci Code. But the other ones are...
I liked Inferno because he actually made a bold decision with it at the end, and then they decided not to include that in the movie at all, and that really annoyed me. We brought Chrissy on because we wanted a historian to explain how perfectly accurate all of the history in the movies is.
That's true, like all the Priory of Sion stuff in...
which totally wasn't founded in the 60s.
Yeah.
And as I said... There were some things they didn't get wrong.
Yeah.
Parse that sentence very carefully.